What's up, YouTube? Professor Gear here. I'm going to be removing and replacing a transmission on a Lexus 2002 RX 300. So, I've already got started on this. Thought I'd make a video of it before I went any further. So, these are the steps you're going to make. I've actually got all the way to the removing the starter part. Let me show you what I got so far. Okay, so you're going to remove the air cleaner assembly, which I already done this. I've already moved the battery. Check the filter out. There's 3 bolts down here. This is a 12mm. I've already removed the harness. These bolts right here are the ones that are holding everything together. Okay. A little tip is when you do remove a bolt, put it right back after you move the object. This way you don't lose where they go. Okay, and the starter, there's 2 bolts on the side. I believe this was a 14mm.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges.
Okay, starter comes out.
So
for the starter, we have a clamp here. It needs to be removed. And this thing is going to be loose. That's where I'm at so far. Again, put these right back where they came from.
It works for my son's drive-in fees and their jockey. I had this rash on my neck. Nothing worked until Blue Star. Blue Star worked great on my ringworm without Blue Star.
Okay, so for the first steps, I want you to remove the hood and everything. Here's a blow up of that. Okay. Next set of instructions, remove the air cleaner assembly and the battery. This is what that looks like. Next step is disconnect all the wiring harness and such. This is zoom in of that. Remove the starter. We've already done that.
Take the plunge, do what I did, and say, you know what, I'm not going to do this on my own, I need help. Medifast California is the kind of help you need.
Got in the wrong order, sorry. This is the wiring harness. Those are the bolts that you don't want to take off. Okay. This is the starter.
And that's the kind of instantaneous results that gets you jazzed up and it makes you want to stay on the program.
Next, we're going to remove the exhaust manifold bracket, remove the bolt nuts. This is what that looks like. Okay, this bracket, I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's right there. It's actually the back half of the end motor car. You see, just basically follow this exhaust. It's kind of hard to find it. And then go back up. It's right there. Right there is the power steering rack and pinion. Okay. Okay, next steps we're going to do step 15, 16, 17, and 18. Zoom in on that. Now, these are kind of hard to find, the parts that they're trying to identify here. Kind of wish they would zoom out just a little bit more. But when I find them, I will show them to you. So, I'm going to actually remove the wheel right now. remove the wheel.
Anti-white hatred. The Association of Mature
Remove the dust cover from the transmission. 10mm socket bolts.
Join the conservative army of AMAC members now.
Trying to pause these videos. Sorry guys. Removed the engine undercover.
This truly intellectually challenged woman who won a
10mm bolts.
It's very important. I looked up her bio. She won all sorts of awards. The left is conducting.
Removed the left and the right drive shafts. So we're going to be taking this bolt out. This is the drive shaft here.
Very hard to sell out unless you are, the Los Angeles Philharmonic with a world-class conductor and what did you hear from police on this matter? You are listening to the
Used a 30mm deep socket to get this bolt out. These are the steps you're going to use for removing the drive shaft.
Weekdays at 3 on AM 1380, The Answer, and podcast at kckc.com.
Exploded views.
If you're not subscribing to Pragertopia, now is your chance to try it essentially for free. 99 cents for the first month. This special offer won't last long. Click the Pragertopia banner.
That's where you're going to drain.
Hi everybody, you're listening to the Dennis Prager
Okay,
Show.
step by step, let's do this. You're going to drain the transmission fluid. There's the bolt. And then you use a 3/8.
So much more hate from the left than the right, it's not even comparable. You gotta go to cuckoo, crack up, nuts.
Alright, you want to disconnect the tie rod. Use this tool here. If you don't have one, get one. You're gonna love it. So I took the castle nut off from the bottom. This just pops right off. Disconnect the lower ball joint. Instead of actually disconnecting the lower ball joint, what I did, there are 3 nuts right here, and I just unbolted them from the bottom, and you just separate it. This way, the ball joint still stays connected, and it's still separated. Then you gotta disconnect your speed sensor.
There are 2 worlds in the United States. The real United States and the media's United
It's right here. Already got it out. Connects right here at the bottom, 10mm socket. Then you gotta pop this off. What I usually do is I put the nut back on it, give it a few hits with the hammer, but this one here is being stubborn, so I'm going to use some PB Blaster and spray the inside of this thing, see if I can't get it to come loose.
There was snowing, but there was no snow on the ground. It didn't stick.
Okay, you're going to separate from here
Are you hiring? Do you know where
and here, and remove this hub. I just use my hammer, hit the center out, bam, popped out. The PB blaster worked, and just remove the drive shaft. Next step is the bearing lock nut. A little part right there.
Happened in Vietnam too, by the way.
Which looks like this.
We have a great video on Vietnam. About Vietnam.
Sorry if my video keeps turning one side or the other.
Tell the story of how we lost after winning in Iraq. The latest video.
And you're going to do the same thing to the right half. Bust the tie rod off. Take the center nut off. Take the sensor off. It's down here. Lower ball joint. Again, I did the 3 bolts. And come back under here. So we've already taken off this nut. Now you're going to remove the clamp right here. I've already removed the clamp. Okay, I just pried this thing loose. I did it right here with my pry bar. Pried up against this little nut right here. Pulled this thing out. I kind of bounced it a few times until it got loose. And it came loose from here. Came loose from here. It's going to come out as one piece just like that. And you're just going to pop this in, hit it till that comes loose. Swing this out, pull the whole drive shaft out. Left half axle. That is the right half axle. Remove the exhaust manifold bracket. Looks like this. That bolt and that bolt. Alright, step 20. Disconnect left and the right stabilizer bars. This is your stabilizer bar. Here's what it looks like. This bar right here. This is your stabilizer bar. You're going to disconnect it right here on the left side and the right side.
You name it. I mean, this is, I don't know, the briefest moment of the
This is the other one right here.
I agree with that. 1-800-955-1776
Disconnect it there.
is our phone.
Next, you're going to support the rack and pinion. What I did is I just used some zip ties right here. And I zip tied it to the exhaust manifold. And then you're going to loosen up these bolts here. This bolt. And where'd it go? There's 2 bolts holding up this rack and pinion. I'm trying to find the other one. It's basically right here. That bolt and that one over there. Right there. Okay. Disconnect the park neutral switch. Looks like this. This is the cable right here. You follow it down. Bolts down there. Easiest way to get to the park neutral safety switch. It's actually under the car. There it is right there, super easy. So, unloosen that. Next, you're gonna remove the cable. Show you what that looks like. Those 2 bolts right there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take them off.
got it, and you can try to make that case. But here's something, and Nicholas sounds like you're
Now you're gonna loosen the bolts on the power steering pipe. After removing the dust cover from the passenger side, this is the pipe right here. Take these bolts out. There's another bolt over here. Flash light on so you can see it. There's the other. You gotta get everything off this frame is basically what we're gonna be doing. There's the other bolt. Because this frame is coming off. Next we're gonna remove the transaxle bolts on the left hand side. Look like this. It's the so you come underneath the frame. There's these little covers. You got to pull them off the screwdriver. And in a 15mm socket, take this bolt off. Take this one off. Next, we're gonna remove the rear transmission mounts. Looks like this. There's the mount underneath the car. Those two bolts. Remove those two caps. There's two more bolts underneath there. So you're going to take a screwdriver, pop these caps off. And it's probably a 14mm socket in these two bolts. Okay, step 29 and 30. Remove that. This shock absorber and the engine mount. This is what they look like. This is the front of the engine. So we're going to take out these two and this guy right here. I think there's 3 bolts up here. I don't know what they want. I think it's this one, and this one. Yeah. Let's see the bolt up there. You could also get it from up top of the engine. You can see it way down there. And there's a shock absorber, but it might be easier to get from underneath. Disconnect the oil cooling lines. There's a bolt right there. Here's the lines.
I have called to say that there's going to be a bomb show in the White House because they are attacking.
Remove the flywheel cover. Where is it at? Right here.
It wasn't just McCain and Graham. There were many Republicans, Orrin Hatch and Corey Gardner.
You see that?
And on, who said something. Marco
that bolt and that bolt.
Very strongly about what happened over the weekend. Sexual abuse.
You're going to remove this section of exhaust pipe. You got the 2 bolts right here. And you got 2 bolts over here.
The complicated structure, moving back and forth among various periods in the main character's life, makes like some viewers.
Next, you want to remove these torque converter bolts. You can use a screwdriver, put it in the gear right here, turn the motor over, like so. Well, let me get position. It's hard to hold the camera and do it at the same time. Okay. See how the motor moves? Do it like that. There's like, I think 6 bolts. Usually there's 4, but I think on this transmission there's 6. We'll see. Okay, so this is important. These are the 6 torque converter bolts that I just took off. If you notice, one of them is kind of a greenish color, while the rest of them are like a copper, kind of a goldish color. Wherever that green one came out, you're going to want to index the torque converter and the flywheel. So this is where it came out on this one right here. What I'm going to do is, I got this, it's kind of like whiteout. And in fact, that's basically what it is, whiteout. And I'm just going to make a little mark on here on the flywheel, so I know that that is where that one goes. It's real important. And you also make an index on the torque converter. Just going to put an arrow pointing to this bolt here. So now I know that's where this green one came from. This way, I guess there's some kind of balance going on in the transmission or transaxle. I keep calling it transmission. This is a transaxle. So yeah, I want to make sure everything lines up, index everything. That's real important. I want to note that on the hint at the top here, at the time of installation, please refer to the following item. First, install the green colored bolt and then the 5 other bolts. So I think what's going on is the bolt itself probably is tapered to allow it to go in a little easier. But either way, just make sure that you follow that step. Okay, from here you want to brace the engine with the hoist in this location. Very important, you have to lift this engine up just a little bit, take the weight off, because the next step we're going to be removing the frame. So we got these 3 bolts here, these 3 bolts here, this 1 bolt there, and 1 bolt there. You're going to remove the entire frame, leaving basically the transaxle engine dangling in the air. Next step, finish removing all the bolts that are connecting the transaxle to the motor or the engine. Then remove the transaxle, separate it from the engine. Try not to let the torque converter fall out, because it's going to be a mess if you do. And that's it. That's the removal. I don't have my engine hoist with me at the moment, so I'm not going to finish that part of the video on this video. Plus I'm only a 17% battery, so at this point I am actually going to call it a day and post this video. My next video, I'm going to finish separating the transmission, and I'm also going to probably have enough time to do the installation. So alright, thanks for watching. It's Professor Gura.